Have you ever poured your heart into your work, shown real talent, only to watch your boss or mentor pull away, criticize you unfairly, or even push you out? That sting of confusion and betrayal, when your success suddenly feels like it costs you everything, hits deep. It's not always about jealousy from peers. Sometimes the person above you feels threatened, and in a quiet moment of insecurity, they decide you're too bright. This is the silent killer of ambition, outshining the master. If this message speaks to you right now, hit that like button to remind yourself you're choosing wisdom over ego today. And subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a Stoic lesson that protects your path to real, lasting power. Today we explore a timeless truth drawn from the spirit of the 48 laws of power, blended with Stoic calm. Never outshine the master. This isn't about dimming your light forever. It's about directing it wisely so you rise without falling. Here are powerful ways to master this lesson in your daily life. Number 1. Understand the hidden danger of shining too bright. Human nature is wired for hierarchy, and those in positions of power, whether a boss, a teacher, a parent, or any mentor, carry an unspoken but powerful need to feel secure in their superiority. When you display your talents too openly or too frequently in their presence, you risk piercing that fragile sense of self. They want to believe their position was earned through exceptional wisdom, experience, or skill. Your effortless solutions, quick insights, or natural charisma can unintentionally plant seeds of doubt. If this subordinate is already this capable, what does that say about my own abilities? Am I truly deserving of this role? Insecurity doesn't announce itself loudly. It simmers quietly and manifests as subtle sabotage, missed promotions, withheld opportunities, redirected credit, or sudden coldness that leaves you questioning what went wrong. History is filled with examples of this dynamic. Ambitious courtiers who dazzled kings only to find themselves exiled, or worse, because the ruler felt diminished. The Stoic perspective cuts through this clearly. External reactions like envy are not in your control, but your own presentation and restraint are entirely yours. By consciously making those above you feel more brilliant, perhaps by seeking their input, even when unnecessary, or by framing your contributions as extensions of their guidance, you neutralize the threat. You buy time to build alliances, gain deeper knowledge, and position yourself for advancement without creating adversaries. This isn't weakness, it's profound emotional mastery. Over time, as trust grows, they become invested in your success because it reflects positively on their judgment in elevating you. Power isn't seized through constant displays of superiority. It's preserved and amplified through the quiet art of making others feel comfortably dominant in the moment. Practice this daily, and watch how resentment evaporates, replaced by quiet support that opens paths you never forced. Number 2. The cost of ignoring this law is steeper than you think. The fallout from outshining a superior often arrives without fanfare. No dramatic confrontation, just a slow erosion of favor that leaves you isolated and confused. Promotions stall indefinitely. Meaningful projects get reassigned to less capable but safer colleagues. Praise turns into nitpicking, and access to key information dries up, all without any explicit reason given. The master feels diminished not because you attack them directly, but because your excellence cast a shadow on theirs, making their achievements seem less extraordinary by comparison. Unable to admit vulnerability or envy openly, they respond indirectly, protecting their ego through exclusion or criticism disguised as feedback. The deeper, more personal cost is internal. You begin doubting your own value, replaying interactions obsessively, losing confidence in your abilities, and carrying resentment that poisons your peace. Stoicism reminds us relentlessly to focus only on what we control: our judgments, our actions, our responses. Blaming the superior changes nothing and wastes energy. Understanding the universal human dynamic of insecurity allows you to adapt intelligently. By choosing deliberate restraint, crediting their vision in public, downplaying your role in joint successes, or asking for guidance on matters you already grasp. You disarm the trigger before it activates. This subtle strategy shifts perception. Your growth becomes an extension of their brilliance rather than a challenge to it. They start defending you, sharing opportunities, and viewing your rise as validation of their leadership. True power endures because it avoids pointless battles that drain resources and create lifelong enemies. Restraint today prevents regret tomorrow. When you consistently make the master appear more brilliant, loyalty forms naturally, doors remain open, and your trajectory accelerates without the friction of hidden opposition. The price of ignoring this law isn't just professional setbacks. It's lost years, eroded self-trust, and unnecessary suffering that wiser navigation could prevent entirely. Number 3. Master the art of strategic flattery and subtle support. Genuine flattery, when practiced with sincerity and restraint, becomes one of the most powerful tools for influence without manipulation. The difference lies in authenticity. Crude praise feels insincere and repels, but thoughtful acknowledgement of superior strengths, delivered publicly, tied to specific actions, and framed humbly, reinforces their self-image without seeming forced. Seek their advice, even on topics you understand well. Present your ideas as building upon theirs, building on what you mentioned last week, and ensure they receive visible credit for collective wins. This is not subservience or ego denial. It is disciplined mastery over pride, yours and theirs. The Stoic understands that unchecked ego is a chain that binds everyone involved in unnecessary conflict. By allowing the master shine brightest in shared spaces, you create psychological safety for yourself, freeing energy for actual excellence rather than defense. Historical masters of this art, figures who rose under powerful patrons, often credited their mentors lavishly while advancing quietly, turning potential rivals into protectors. In today's world, this translates to crediting your leader in team meetings, asking insightful questions that let them demonstrate expertise, or humbly deferring in moments where your talent could dominate. Over months and years, trust deepens because you consistently affirm their superiority. They confide in you, delegate meaningful responsibilities, and advocate for your growth as if it were their own legacy. Patience is required. This path yields slow but compounding returns, but the alternative of unchecked brilliance often leads to swift reversal. Strategic support transforms hierarchies from battlegrounds into ladders. You become the indispensable ally, the one who elevates without threatening, earning a position of quiet influence that outlasts flashier but riskier approaches. Number 4. Recognize when you are unintentionally outshining and correct course. Brilliance can outshine accidentally through natural efficiency, effortless problem solving, consistent high performance, or an engaging presence that draws attention without effort. A single brilliant suggestion in a meeting, a project delivered ahead of schedule, or quiet competence that others notice can trigger insecurity in a fragile superior before you even realize it. The signs appear subtly at first. Warmer interactions cool, credit gets redirected, unnecessary obstacles emerge, or feedback shifts from constructive to critical. Instead of reacting with anger or defensiveness, emotions that only confirm the threat, respond with calm, stoic observation and deliberate adjustment. Temporarily tone down independent displays, redirect praise upward. This only succeeded because of your initial direction, or make low-stakes requests for their input to rebuild their sense of authority. This is discipline in practice. You observe reality without emotional distortion, adapt your behavior without compromising core integrity, and preserve your long-term position. You are not diminishing your worth. You are cloaking your light strategically until the environment allows it to shine safely. Many ambitious people mistake temporary restraint for permanent defeat, abandoning the path when patience would have cleared the way. True mastery lies in reading social currents and timing your full expression. Shine brightest when a master feels secure, is distracted by larger concerns, or begins to fade naturally. By correcting course early, you prevent escalation, maintain momentum, and often turn suspicion back into alliance. The master relaxes, obstacles dissolve, and your quiet, uninterrupted rise continues. This skill of self-regulation separates those who burn out in hierarchies from those who eventually lead them with wisdom and grace. Number 5. Rise higher by making others feel greater. At its deepest level, this law uncovers a liberating truth. Genuine, enduring power emerges not from overpowering others, but from harmonizing with human nature as it truly is, driven by ego, fear, insecurity, and the desire for validation. When you consistently make those above you feel brilliantly superior, through thoughtful deference, public acknowledgement, and subtle elevation, you remove friction from your path. They clear barriers, share hidden knowledge, defend your interests, and promote you because your success now mirrors their own wisdom and generosity. This is not cynical manipulation. It is realistic acceptance of how people function, combined with Stoic virtue, acting with justice, courage, wisdom, and temperance within the given reality. You free yourself from petty rivalries, conserve energy for meaningful pursuits, deepen your insight into psychology, and cultivate an unshakable calm that comes from understanding rather than resisting the world. As ego battles fade, your focus sharpens on true excellence, skill, character, contribution, rather than constant proof of superiority. Over years, this compounds powerfully. Alliances multiply. Reputation grows as reliable and wise. Opportunities arrive unforced. And one day you find yourself in positions of authority, not through confrontation or flashy dominance, but through patient, intelligent navigation that left no enemies in your wake. The Stoic who masters this law achieves something rare: power without poison, influence without resentment, ascent without destruction. You rise higher precisely because you learn to let others feel greater first. Apply it starting today. In your next conversation with someone in authority, pause and ask, how can I make them feel more brilliant right now? Observe the subtle shift in energy, the opening of doors, the return of trust. This is the quiet path to unbreakable strength. Apply this lesson starting now. In your next interaction with someone above you, ask yourself, how can I make them feel more brilliant? Watch how the energy shifts. Number 6. The psychology of insecurity. Why even good masters can turn. Every human carries an invisible scale inside, constantly measuring their worth against others, especially those closest in rank or proximity. When you shine too brightly, even a generally kind or competent master experiences a subtle imbalance. Their self-perception dips as yours rises. This isn't always malice. It's raw human psychology at work. A boss who once praised your initiative might later feel unease when your results consistently outpace expectations, because excellence invites comparison. The Stoic recognizes this as an indifferent external event. Others' insecurities are theirs to bear, not yours to fix through confrontation. Yet wisdom lies in prevention. By framing your achievements as reflections of their guidance, your early advice on this approach made all the difference. You restore balance to their internal scale. They feel reaffirmed, not diminished. Historical patterns show this repeatedly. Loyal advisors who dazzled rulers without crediting them upward often met sudden downfall, while those who amplified their patron's image enjoyed long favor. In practice, observe how praise flows. When you speak of successes, tie them back to the master's vision or support. This small act quiets the ego's alarm, transforming latent fear into genuine appreciation. Over time, the master associates your presence with positive reinforcement of their own brilliance, not competition. You gain emotional leverage without force, preserving peace of mind and opening channels for greater responsibility. The deeper lesson is Stoic detachment. You control your actions and intentions, not their feelings. But by wisely shaping how your light lands, you shape the environment in which your virtue can flourish undisturbed. Master this psychology, and hierarchies become less battlefields and more gardens where careful tending yields steady growth. Number 7. when to shine, and when to step back. Power is never static. It ebbs and flows with circumstances, moods, and seasons of influence. Outshining becomes most dangerous when a master is already insecure, new to the role, facing criticism, or comparing themselves to predecessors. In those moments, even moderate excellence can feel like a spotlight on their weaknesses. The wise person reads these currents like a sailor reads wind. Hold back independent displays during storms of doubt, redirect attention upward, and let their guidance take center stage. Conversely, when a master is secure, celebrating a win, confident in their legacy, or mentoring openly, your full capabilities can shine safely, often earning admiration rather than envy. Stoicism teaches equanimity in observation. Judge situations accurately without emotional distortion, then act accordingly. This isn't inconsistency or cowardice. It's disciplined timing, the same principle that governs great generals who attack only when conditions favor victory. In daily life, this means scanning for cues, tone of voice, body language, allocation of credit, and adjusting your presentation. During tense periods, ask more questions than you answer, credit their foresight lavishly, and frame bold ideas as refinements of their direction. When security returns, contribute more assertively, always looping praise back to them. This rhythm prevents unnecessary friction and builds a reputation as thoughtful and loyal. Over years, the master comes to rely on your calibrated presence, brilliant enough to advance shared goals, restrained enough to never threaten their position. True power accumulates through such patient calibration, knowing not just what to do, but when. Restraint in the wrong season preserves your trajectory. Well-timed brilliance accelerates it. Practice this awareness daily, and you navigate hierarchies with the calm certainty of someone who understands that light is most effective when it illuminates without blinding. Number 8. Building indispensability through quiet elevation. The ultimate aim isn't mere survival in a hierarchy. It's becoming so valuable that removal would harm the master more than keeping you. By never outshining, you position yourself as the unseen force that makes their brilliance possible. Handle the details they overlook, solve problems before they escalate, and ensure their decisions appear flawless through your behind-the-scenes work. Publicly, deflect spotlight. Privately, deliver excellence that amplifies their results. This creates a subtle dependency. They need your competence to maintain their image of mastery. Stoics value self-sufficiency, yet in social realities, interdependence is unavoidable. Use it virtuously. By elevating them consistently, through preparation that anticipates their needs, insights offered humbly, credit given freely, you become the steady foundation beneath their throne. Historical figures who mastered this rose far. Advisors who made kings seem prophetic, executives who made CEOs appear visionary. The master begins to see your success as inseparable from their own. Threatening you would mean threatening their own stature. This bond is stronger than forced loyalty. It's rooted in self-interest aligned with mutual benefit. You gain protection, access to higher circles, and freedom to grow without scrutiny. The Stoic twist is inner freedom. You pursue excellence for its own sake, not applause, while strategically directing perception outward. No resentment builds because no threat is perceived. Over time, indispensability compounds into quiet authority, the kind that outlasts titles. When change comes, as it always does, those who elevated their masters without overshadowing them are the first retained, the most trusted, the ones who transition smoothly to greater roles. This path requires ego discipline and long-view patience, but it yields power that is resilient, earned through service disguised as deference. Number 9. Protecting your inner light. Stoic integrity amid restraint. Restraint does not mean extinguishing your fire. It means channeling it wisely, so it warms rather than scorches. Many resist this law, fearing it demands inauthenticity or self-betrayal, dimming who they truly are. The Stoic answer is clear. Virtue lies in rational action within reality, not in reckless expression regardless of consequence. You remain fully yourself in character, honest, capable, courageous, while modulating how and when that self appears in hierarchical contexts. This preserves inner tranquility, no resentment from thwarted ambition, no regret from avoidable setbacks. By making the master feel superior, you protect the space needed for genuine growth, learning, experimenting, building skill without the distraction of defense or sabotage. True authenticity isn't loud display. It's consistent alignment between inner values and outer behavior. When you credit upward sincerely, seek guidance thoughtfully, and downplay personal flair temporarily, you act with justice, giving due to hierarchy, temperance, controlling ego, wisdom, reading dynamics, and courage, facing uncomfortable restraint for long-term good. This discipline strengthens character far more than unchecked brilliance ever could. Over time, as trust solidifies and your quiet contributions accumulate, opportunities arise to express your full light without fear, often in new contexts where you become the master yourself. The deeper freedom is this: no one can diminish your inner worth through external envy or reversal, because your value is rooted in virtue, not validation. Restraint practiced wisely becomes liberation, freedom from the cycle of shine, threaten, suffer, repeat. Embrace it as training for mastery, not suppression, and your light grows steadier, deeper, more enduring. Number 10. From subordinate to master without enemies. This law is ultimately about legacy, how to ascend hierarchies without leaving wreckage behind. Those who ignore it often reach high positions through talent alone, only to face constant suspicion, turnover, or isolation. Enemies accumulate because insecurity was triggered at every level. Those who master it rise with allies intact, networks strengthened, reputation as wise and gracious. By consistently making superiors feel brilliant, you create a chain of positive perception. Each mentor remembers you as the one who elevated them, not challenged them. When your time comes, they advocate, introduce, defend, because your success validates their judgment. Stoicism adds profound depth, focus on the present action, wise deference, while accepting the impermanence of roles. Power shifts. Today's master is tomorrow's peer or subordinate. Navigating with this law ensures smooth transitions. No bitterness, no revenge cycles. In practice, cultivate habits of elevation across all relationships. Credit generously, listen actively, frame contributions collaboratively. This builds a character that attracts opportunity organically. Years later, you find yourself an authority, surrounded by loyalty earned through patience, not force. The ultimate Stoic victory is internal, calm amid ascent, unmoved by reversal, because power was never the goal, virtuous navigation was. You become the master not by outshining predecessors, but by outlasting the pitfalls they fell into. This long game turns ambition into something noble, progress without destruction, influence without resentment, leadership rooted in understanding human nature. Start small today, elevate one superior in one interaction, and watch the compound effect unfold over a lifetime. As you carry this ancient yet eternally relevant law into your daily life, remember that never outshine the master is not a call to shrink yourself or live in perpetual shadow. It is an invitation to rise with greater intelligence, greater patience, and greater command over the invisible currents of human nature. Every time you choose to elevate someone above you, crediting their vision, seeking their counsel with genuine curiosity, framing your wins as extensions of their leadership, you are not diminishing your power. You are multiplying it through subtlety and timing. The Stoic path demands that we accept reality as it is. People are driven by ego, fear, and the deep need to feel superior. Fighting against that truth creates friction and enemies. Working skillfully within it creates momentum and allies. Over months, years, even decades, this quiet discipline compounds into something unbreakable, a reputation for wisdom, loyalty that spans hierarchies, opportunities that arrive without force, and an inner calm that no reversal can shake. You protect your light not by hiding it forever, but by directing it so it illuminates without blinding those who hold the keys to your next step. In doing so, you transform potential obstacles into stepping stones and turn the very people who could have blocked your path into quiet champions of your ascent. Start today, in the very next interaction that matters. Pause before you speak or act, and ask yourself one simple question. How can I make this person feel more brilliant, more secure, more masterful right now? Then do it, sincerely, strategically, without fanfare. Watch the subtle shift. The guarded posture softens, the tone warms, the door that was closing cracks open again. This is the real practice of power, not loud displays or ruthless ambition, but calm, deliberate mastery over perception and timing. Thank you for walking this Stoic journey with me, Kelvin. If these words stirred something deep within you, hit that like button as a quiet commitment to wiser action. Subscribe and turn on notifications so these timeless lessons keep finding you. And share this video with anyone climbing their own ladder right now. Stay patient, stay observant, stay virtuous. True power is never rushed, never forced, and never alone. Because the one who masters others' egos first eventually masters their own destiny. Until we meet again in the next lesson, keep your light steady, your mind clear, and your path unbreakable.